Hey everybody, we're just getting warmed up here. Get the lighting right, get the makeup on. Let's see here. Share the screen. Okay, get the flowers in place. A few more minutes, one more minute. Jambo fellow adventurers, it's Mike Dooley, and welcome to the third installment of our masterclass featuring the book, the brand new book, Life on Earth, Understanding Who We Are, How We Got Here, and What May Lie Ahead. Hope you're enjoying these as much as I am. Today, again, 30 to 40 minutes, including about 10 minutes of questions and answers. And to kind of kick this off, I want to do a little recap of some protocol here. A great question was posed yesterday that I answered, and it pertained to, is this program and the book, Life on Earth, is it mostly about theory and knowledge, or is there going to be applications and how-to? And my answer, of course, that it is absolutely both, but we are at first, of course, riding with our training wheels, meaning at first we're going through the theory, making sure everyone's on the same page. Too often, spiritually minded books that talk about deliberate living presume that everyone's on the same page, which is very rarely, if ever, the case. And I want to speak to this because I would bet that some of you are chomping at the bit for some tips and some tricks and some tools about living deliberately and creating consciously. But having done this for 16 years now, and having known the truth about the nature of reality as I now share it for, oh my God, 30 plus, 35 years. I mean, I've been living this stuff, applying it to my own life. I have at times spun my wheels and made no progress, or seemingly made no progress. And I have often received emails from people or correspondence or spoken to audience members at different points when they will kind of be very frustrated and ask the question, what gives? What am I missing? How come things haven't changed so fast? Why am I spinning in a loop here and have no abundance there when I thought that was all that I was thinking about? And of course, drum roll, the answer boils down to the underlying foundation they have, their handle they have on truth. And if you don't have a good handle on truth, you will very likely, unwittingly, be giving your power away. And so my point right now is, I'm speaking significantly yesterday, a bit of the first session, and a lot of this chapter on underlying principles from which you can then build your life. You don't want the sands to be shifting beneath your feet, or 6 months from now or 6 years from now, you'll be like, oh yeah, I tried that stuff and it doesn't work. It's like, it does work, but you have to have this really rock solid foundation, which is so easy to obtain when you go within, you ask the hard questions, you discern what can be known, as little as it may be, about the nature of reality, and suddenly you have traction and you're not giving your power away. For example, to some of the things we've already talked about, which may seem like theory and irrelevant to you, driving that fast car or finding that soulmate or healing yourself of pain. But it's so entirely relevant. It's relevant to the point of, this is the exciting stuff, because it's not like there's so much you need to know to have this rock of truth to return to. There's so little, and we're going to knock the ball out of the park in just the first 3 or 4 chapters of this book, grounding you in truth. But for example, do you remember yesterday we were talking about this divine sense of incompletion that we are all blessed with? You know, this sense that something's not quite right. Something's not quite right. That's our greatest gift. You're never going to be at that place where everything is just utopia, because that is not the hallmark of greatness. That is not the hallmark of a slumbering giant about to awaken. Okay. The slumbering giant about to awaken is a little bit groggy, is a little bit confused, and you see something on your horizon that's, everything's almost perfect, but this spot here, it needs a little polish. Oh, I need to get my health in store. Oh, I need to have abundance. Oh, I need my soulmate travel partner. And then, oh, now it's all working, and I've been using the law of attraction and Mike Dooley's stuff, and now it's all shining, but now I can see farther. Even farther, I can dream even bigger. And now that I'm dreaming even bigger, because of this divine sense of incompletion, I can see that there's some more polishing that needs to be done. And then you grow and you gain and you gather, and there's this upward spiral of momentum. Compared to not knowing that, waking up one morning, you don't have the abundance yet, and you feel a little bit incomplete, thinking that that is a demerit, and that you're not where you should be, and that everyone else has this figured out and they're all happier and have more clarity. You start beating yourself up. You start looking for problems. What could it be? Was it that thing that happened to me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago? And now you've just thrown your power out the window when everything was working in your favor. So that's why the theory of the divine sense of incompletion, which is a reality, is so pivotal to you deciding how things may go ahead, where you get to decide whether it's this lifetime or the next or the 5,000 from now, when you totally get your groove on. Similarly, we talked about selfishness, whether it was naivety, or whether there be a selfishness that is inspired by spirituality, let's call it, where you realize that you can't give all that you have to give to the world unless you're taking care of business at home. And then your light will shine bright, and ultimately your first wish will be to tend to other people. But if at the outset in your life, which I gather we're all pretty much on, certainly if you're watching this broadcast, you are where I am, where I was, then we've got that old dogma going on in our head, like, you know, shouldn't I be of more service? You know, shouldn't I give more stuff away and then I'll be getting more stuff times 7? Shouldn't I be moving towards increasing love in my life? Isn't life all about love and how much more we can love? If you've got the cart before the horse and you're misunderstanding these virtues, misunderstanding that love is a fluctuating variable, instead of understanding that it is a given. And then all of a sudden you're putting the needs of other people before your own, but you also want abundance, and you've given away the house, the home, and everything else, and you're wondering why you haven't gotten traction yet, it's the ground rules. So I hope that is as exciting as it is grounding to have revisited that and to speak to the utter importance of knowing the ground rules in the jungles of time and space, because in all regards, there is a truth. With regards to the stage of life and how things work and how you can live in the life of your dreams, there is an absolute truth. Some call it a science, hence the Church of, not Scientology, Science of Mind is a church, and other earlier New Thought writers. You know, it's objective. The Science of Getting Rich, that really cool book, you know, it's objective. It works for everyone, so long as you know the ground rules. So now we got a really exciting chapter for you. Chapter 3 is one of my most favorite named chapters in my 13-book history. Not that all of my books had chapters, some of them were poems or for kids. But if you're a wordsmith, probably many of you are, the chapter will mean even more to you after we review it. The matter of illusions and the reason to care. Okay, and you're going to need a reason after I tell you about the matter of illusions, because the chapter kicks off with me questioning my journal as to, you know, what should I be focusing on? What's really important? And not so much important, what matters? What really matters? Because now it's going to seem like I'm playing a lot with words. Some of you have read the chapter already. You know where I'm going. For those of you who haven't, I'll tell you what the answer was that I received as to what matters. Nothing, as in absolutely nothing matters, and everything. Everything matters. Now that could make any sane person want to scream, "Thanks for nothing, Mike." So I'll explain the everything matters in a little bit, but it'll be under a different light than understanding how nothing matters. And so if you think I'm splitting hairs by saying nothing matters, but everything matters, then let's just stop at nothing matters, period. Nothing. I couldn't share this stuff with people beyond Mike Dooley readers or metaphysical Hay House aware people. But I can share it with you because this could be grotesquely taken out of context. Please don't let anybody do that. Mike Dooley says nothing matters. Well, that's true, but let me finish the statement. Nothing matters because it's all dependent. The term matters is dependent on outcomes. Look it up. You know, whether or not something matters. Well, it matters depending on the outcome. Well, how about this? And let me share with you a reading from page 55. If you really get the ground rules, hence their almighty importance to living deliberately with confidence, then you can glimpse that what's important is how you and others feel. Everything else is just a crutch, a prop, or excuse. You would also be able to get a glimpse of the fact that material things are thought forms and therefore can be changed with your mind. And you'd also have a sense that you are of God, by God, pure God, with dominion over all things, and you are here in these illusions, in this jungle, by choice. If you can get those ground rules, there's not many more, then you will begin valuing the journey more than the destination, adventurously set out to change certain areas of your life, and know that everything's always been and always will be okay. Because what we're saying here is that if you get that you are of God, by God, pure God, here by choice, and that this is like a nighttime dream, as I have earlier said, then no matter what happens, you're going to wake up, be restored, be fulfilled, and be more for the experiences, no matter how harrowing or terrifying or glorious or rewarding your lifetime was. Anything and everything that happens here is just kind of added to who you were before the illusions began, and nothing can take away what you were when it started out? Do you get that you're going to emerge from this whole and intact? And if you do, then you realize that nothing in these hallowed jungles of time and space matters. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing you have ever thought matters. But, now here's the weirdness. I said everything's important. Everything matters in a sense because it has value. And how does it have value? Well, just like in a nighttime dream, there's learning, there's adventures, there's fear. Just like going into a movie theater, stuff is going to happen that you're going to think is real until the light comes out on and you're back out in the sunlight. So whether or not something is important, let me read you my definition here, hinges on there's an added value. Something is important if there's an added value. Something matters based on outcomes. Well, the outcome for all of us is the same. Waking up back metaphorically in the palm of God's hand. Do you see that? This is super fine and super subtle, but it's super powerful because it means the stuff you've worried about does not need to be worried about. And whether it's technology, whether you ride to work in a brontosaurus or a spaceship, it doesn't really matter. The nighttime dream is exactly the same. We're enriched there. And when you get that is true about life, if you could wake up in a nighttime dream, wouldn't that be cool? You would know that nothing really matters, but it's all important because you're experiencing it and there's gateways to happiness. Man, all of a sudden there'd be no limits. All of a sudden you could perhaps fly if you would believe that you could fly in the dream. All of a sudden, because come morning, you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh, darn it, that was just a dream. Or conversely, you've been terrified in a nighttime dream and you wake up and you're like, thank God, that was just a dream. Think of some of the stuff that's scaring you right now. You're going to wake up in the blink of an eye after this life and you're going to be like, oh, thank God, I thought that was so real. It's not real at all. It doesn't even matter in the scheme of who you really are. It was important because value is added. And now, should you come back into the jungles of time and space, maybe holding hands with someone else, a dearly beloved, and you're going to share the adventure together, you know, you can be more for the emotional value, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. And in a word, and this must sound kind of shocking when you take out all the lead up to this, I want to be maybe one of the first teachers to tell you that what really matters in the time and space, or what really is important, therefore adds value, is the drama. It's the drama. Drama is why you're here. It's why I'm here. It's why everyone chose to be alive in these hallowed jungles of time and space. It's not all about you. I mean, your thoughts become things, that's absolute. That gives you a leverage on the type of drama you get. So life is not about love. It's not about all the things we thought. It's about our adventures towards happiness. And in the adventure towards happiness and the realization it is beneath your very nose, you're going to be out in the world, meeting people, brushing shoulders, and experiencing the fruit of life, emotion. Emotion is why we're here. And emotion is something that can be managed. And I am not remotely implying you should let life happen to you. I mean, you can do that. That's an option, and your life will be very rich because there will be lots of emotion. But you can direct the course of your adventures and your journeys and choose, do you live here? Do you live there? Do you study this? Do you study that? Are you in the arts? Are you into science? And thereby have a rocking good time. And no matter what path you go down, so long as you're out there into the world, you're going to be falling in love with people, places, and things. And they will be falling in love with you. I wanted to share something that was actually in page 8. And I created a one-page PowerPoint presentation for this very purpose. And there's echoes of this little quote, although it's on page 8. all the way through this third chapter in Life on Earth. And so I'm about to share my screen with you. Where is my little screeny thingy? Full screen. Share screen. Desktop. Okay, so now you're seeing a big blue screen, Life on Earth. And I'm about to reveal to you something that is the basis for Life on Earth and the adventures that follow. So, the little quote. Desire plus perceived limits. This is so critical to the fundamental understanding of life on earth. Do you understand? By now you do. We are of God, by God, pure God. We are limitless. But by having perceived limits, limits that are not true, by fleetingly choosing to believe in the beautiful lies, white lies of here versus there, now versus then. Because you're everywhere always at once. You are the eyes and the ears of God Almighty come alive. You're intergalactic being, and there's no such thing as time. You're everywhere always at once. There's no such thing as space. But by fleetingly believing in the lies of here versus there, you're really in both places at the same time. You just think and therefore believe you're here or there or whatever. And by believing in that, if you're here and you don't like it, you want to go there, game on. By believing in the lies, by believing in have versus have not, which is a function of time and space. You know, that which you have and you don't want creates desire. Do you see? Look at the monitor. Look at your computer screen. Desire plus perceived limits, or perhaps I should have said perceived limits first. You're here and you want to go there. You have not, but you want to have. Oh my gosh, these lies of time, space, and matter have suddenly got you thinking that you're a limited being. And this is part of the formula for a life on earth. Now you've got desire. I want more of this. I want less of that. I want some of them and not some of these kind of things. Now, all of a sudden, holy guacamole, you are out there in the world trying to go from here to there, trying to go from have not to have. The whole thing is a lie to begin with. But because you're in motion, on foot, now all of a sudden, ooh, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Ooh, I really like this even more than I thought. Ooh, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, now I'm on step 3, step 4, and I can see farther and faster. I think you guys can see me in a little square window. Let me know through the notes, and I'll read the notes after this, or somebody will be reading them for me right now. I hope you're not just staring at that PowerPoint screen. But now, all of a sudden, because you thought you were limited, you didn't realize you were always everywhere at once, possessing of all good, great, and wonderful things. Now there's desire, it's lit a fire under you, and you're out the door in the world, even if it's to pay the rent. You had to go get a job down at the mall. At least that got you out there. And now that you're out there, you're meeting people, you're talking to people, you're falling in love with different folks, with circumstances, coffee in the morning, whatever it may be. Ooh, that's part of the reason you chose to be here. But do you see how this is going? And let me finish this PowerPoint slide. Emotion is tantamount to challenge. Instantaneously, out of the block, you're challenged. Why? Because this is the trait of the immortal, of the divine alive within you, having chosen to immerse yourself in the illusions. And now you're challenged. That might be an easy challenge. You have to walk across the room. Or it might be a mighty challenge. You need to move towards great financial abundance and freedom. A mighty challenge. You need to find your travel partner with benefits when you don't know a soul on the radar. That's a challenge. But your perceived limits plus desire has put you out into the world facing challenges from which emotion is kicking in. And then the third and final click on that slide is your life is full of adventure. And the point of this is the emotions are not happening to you, you are happening to them. The whole idea here is the stuff you thought was important is not important. You know, whether you work for an hourly rate at a job you're not too thrilled with temporarily, or you're working for tens of millions of dollars per year on Wall Street, neither one of those is the fruit of your life. You might think they are. You might think they lead to the fruit of your life. But they're getting you out of the house and you're meeting people. You're discovering what you're good at. You're discovering what you could be better at. You're honing your skills. You're like, hey, I'd really like to be able to sell commodities. Hey, I'd really like to be able to grow tomatoes and not have them riddled with bugs. Hey, I'd like to be able to, help people or start a business and now game on, game on, game on. And part of this chapter is kind of clearing the slate and helping you to realize that your life is not going to take off when you earn $1 million bucks per year or ducks per year, or it's not going to take off here, there. None of that stuff matters to the degree you thought it did. Losing weight or gaining weight, all of it is part of managing the adventure, but not to the degree of it detracting from your happiness. And so my caveat to drama being the reason for our adventures in pursuit of happiness in a sea of love is to say, enjoy it until the point that it impinges on your happiness. And if your drama is impinging on your happiness, then manage it. Woo! Because you have full access and God-given, God-endowed powers to change anything in your life, including the journey that you're on, which doesn't mean every time you're pinched, you jump off the horse and look for a new one. Sometimes those challenges and those pinches are those chinks in your armor you didn't know you had, and you would be mightily served to buff them off, and not just quit cold turkey your career or your marriage or whatever else it is in your life because you're God Almighty and you don't have to put up with that crap. All of this is the art of life, as I said yesterday in Q&A. It is the art of life, and you'll be a much better artist when you realize, in a very real, literal sense, that nothing matters. In the most profound, literal sense, nothing matters. But don't misconstrue that and think that I'm saying that life is unimportant. You chose from the zenith of your brilliance to be here. You knew what you were doing. It's important. It just doesn't matter. Do you get that? Do you get that? I'm sure you do. So let me see here. I am going to quickly speak to civilizations. Where did they go, these ancient civilizations? We see evidence the world over of technological feats that we are totally ignorant of to this day. And nothing galls me more than going to Machu Picchu or to Cairo or to Mexico, where there's these fabulous ruins, and the local PhD educated, bless their hearts, scholars will tell you that it took 60,000 men over 60 years to do. It's like, give me a break. They knew stuff that we don't know to this day. Yet they're gone. They perished. This is heavy, man. Collectively, they perished. At least to the best of my knowledge. Now, maybe some levitated and they're on another planet right now, but we know too well from the Romans, from the modern Egyptians, which many think built the pyramid, I disagree with. The modern pharaohs, 5,000 years ago, those folks died out. The Greeks died out. What happened? What happened? They thought that which is unimportant was all important. And you can see the world over, we're doing that. Too often, the mainstream, the young souls, of which we are likely part of, just got our priorities out of whack. And while there was growth and betterment and technological breakthroughs never last unless there were spiritual breakthroughs that preceded them. And we are on the cusp of that. We are at the dawn of the civilization the likes the world has never seen before, because we are waking up spiritually and we see the resistance everywhere. Someone phrased the tumult in Brexit and Trumpism and the Philippines as kind of a reaction to our advancement, not a mark of the new normal. Whatever. I think I've made my point. I've got some Q&A I want to do with you right now. Where is my Q&A panel? Time flies when you're having fun. Come on, come on. Full screen, Q&A. I got 10 questions. Okay, you're realizing I can't answer all the questions. I wish I could. Tony, why do you always wear an undershirt? Well, believe it or not, I'm usually cold. And now in New Mexico, where it's below freezing half the day, they're having a cold snap. I'm particularly cold. Plus, I don't think it's that bad of a fashion statement. So, P.S. I love that you think like I do. So I presume you wear an undershirt as well. Or is it the other way around? You have a great sense of humor, by the way. Thank you, Tony. Okay, next question. Since becoming a mom, I feel terribly conscious about money as I depend financially on my husband now. And I think this is blocking me for feeling abundance in my life. How can I feel better about it? Multiple things going on here. Ziam, I think is your name, or Ziam. Thanks for the great question. I would like to believe that you and your partner are, marching lockstep this adventure together. You're taking care of the kids and you're supporting him, and he's supporting you with the kids. And so supporting him is a mighty contributor to any partner's success. In this case, it's your husband. It could be your wife, or otherwise your partner. So realize you've got a hand in the game of abundance creation. Sometimes our partners might not agree with us as two thoughts becoming things and airy-fairy and not that realistic, and they are just happy to put food on the table and they want you to stop with your pipe dreams. That's a different equation. If that is the case, I'm sure the partner has a lot of great virtues that you can celebrate and still have an awesome relationship. But if that is the case and you want abundance, then while being a parent, you physically need to move towards abundance. And it might not be so doable if it's a toddler, or you have to decide at what age you can do that. Whether you're working with someone, for someone, starting your own business, there are an infinite number of ways to take baby steps towards the accumulation of abundance. And under this scenario, I would say it's incumbent upon you to start considering opening up some doors for abundance to reach you. But then let me also finalize this answer with a reality that I have seen play out in my life. We talked about it on the first Q&A in chapter 1 of this masterclass. I talked about how I had pain in one knee, a torn meniscus, and pain-free in the other. And I had to think about my pain-free knee while my pained knee was killing me. And it seemed so silly because I couldn't stop thinking about the pain while thinking about the pain-free knee. But it was enough. In 10 days, the pain was gone. And that made me realize that there is no one watching this, no one on planet Earth who has great desires, who isn't simultaneously staring contradiction in their face. You got debt and you want abundance. How do you think about abundance when the bill collector is calling? You've got pain, you want health. How do you think about health when you're in pain? Like I just reviewed. Whatever it is you want, it's because you don't have it. And usually you want it to such a degree, the opposite has shown up largely in your life, which is fueling you to want it. Fear not. You're not vulnerable. You're inclined to succeed. Positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than negative thoughts. So even in the face of fear, even while you're feeling fear, even while you're experiencing the opposite of what you want, still do your best to think about what you want, to feel it. Do it through creative visualization, 5 minutes a day. I'll walk you through that in the more application sections of this masterclass to come. But don't be daunted nor discouraged when it feels utterly futile to imagine abundance while in debt or while not earning a penny. That's the way it goes. That's the hook to life in the jungles of time and space, and the hook you need to manage your adventures. You have to see the opposite of what you want while holding in mind a new picture and moving with that picture, even though the old manifestations are fighting for your attention. That's the whole hook. Can you hold the vision in spite of the appearances and move with the vision, even as you must take care of your present life, spend frugally, etc., etc. Great question. Thanks for the opportunity to speak on all those great angles. We're doing good with time. How do you keep your flowers looking so fresh day after day, Tracy? It's my energy, I'm sure, and I talk to them as well. Hopefully they'll look as good tomorrow, no doubt. They will. Ardoth, the joy is the journey. Spelled journey with capital J-O-Y. Cool. Nothing else matters. When I do not mind, it cannot matter. How do I remember this 24/7? You don't have to remember this, Ardoth, 24/7. That's the key. That's the beauty. This is your inclination to succeed. Your default settings are through the roof. If you can hold a 5-minute visualization a day, my life in crises have shown me this again and again and again. 5 minutes a day, visualize. The end result. The lions and tigers and bears are in the distance. You're surrounded by friends and laughter. You've got financial abundance. Your health is restored. You're traveling with your partner. Lots of benefits. If you can hold that thought 5 minutes a day, and then timidly even do something about knocking on new doors, taking baby steps, asking for help, printing your business cards, creating the website, writing the blog, and more and more and more and more every day, every month, every year, you can then worry for 23 hours and 55 minutes the rest of the day. There have been times I couldn't stop worrying and I thought I was doomed. And I would sit down and visualize for 5 minutes, and during that I would worry. But I kept doing the best I could with my visualizing. It seemed utterly stupid and futile and pointless. All I could do all day long was worry, but I acted with faith. I had vision boards. I would read the Seth material or Ramtha or Richard Bach, and it was always enough. Just like the thing I was talking about with pain and lack, wanting health and abundance. You're staring that crap in the face. It's not a matter of banishing negativity or fear. It's a matter of doing what you can with what you've got from where you are, and that'll be enough to erode them. And you won't ever forget necessarily the hideous violation from the past or the ugly, painful memory from the past. But as you're moving forward, they will diminish in scale, and they will become much less important to the point where you'll be like, I hadn't thought about that in 4 weeks. Too much is happening in my life these days. Elaine, do you have any recommendations, or perhaps you should consider always doing this, for example, suggestions in regards to preparing to channel, like clearing-wise? I do not mean channeling for others, but for self-exploration and channeling. Thank you, Elaine, for asking that question. I noticed somebody else asked if I could speak more on my questions and answers and journaling. It gave me this book. The best advice I could share with you is to be that it is ultra simple. It is not what you're expecting it to be. It is this. Think back to when a brand new idea popped into your head. Maybe it was today. Oh, I think I'll do this today. Oh, I think I'll watch the recording today. Oh, I think I'll drive a new way to work. Oh, I think I'm gonna surprise my boss with flowers or whatever. I think I'm going to. Those are examples of you tapping in to a greater wisdom. When a new idea presents itself that wasn't there a moment earlier, that's channeling. And you're like, oh, that's not channeling. That's channeling. And those ideas, this is how you did it. You had an end result where you wanted to have, to smooth over relationships with somebody. You wanted to be more efficient at work. You wanted to make more friends. You wanted those end results. Working backwards, that world exists. A harmonious future, healing, abundance. And the only way you can get there is if you are infused with a bright idea, if you are infused with clarity, if you are infused with wisdom, if you are infused with the answer to the question you posed. So if you have a question or just an unnamed desire and you're dwelling on it, it is being pressed to you. And as you go about your life, the manifestations will appear here, there, and everywhere. When it comes to channeling, the best way to create space is to have a journal in front of you or a Word document or just a blank mind and be like, you know, how does life work? And why did that happen last week? And what might I do to accelerate the manifestation of a new best friend? You ask those questions and you think about it. The biggest trick is create the space. You're not going to be channeling if you're busy driving here and going there and answering emails. You'll still have the answers pressed to you. But if you create the space, people will call this space meditation. Okay, I don't like to use the word because it's filled with junk, and I can't do that, and I know well. So just like hold the space in your mind and go for a long walk. Hold the space in your mind before you fall asleep. Pose the question. You know, I want to write a book. I don't know what to write about. Okay, write down 25 chapters. Well, as you sit down and write out chapters, by the 14th attempt or the 24th attempt or the 59th attempt, until you're happy, you're going to be summoning, pulling answers from the ether. And the last 10 answers will probably be better than the first 10 answers. Or maybe you'll find that the hypothetical title 11 was the best of all. But you've created the space to do it. With a journal as a powerful exercise, ask the question. And then here, do this. I almost forgot. Start writing. Don't wait for the breakthrough. Don't wait for, Eureka, I got the answer. I'm so glad I told you this. This is how I write my notes in the universe. I just start writing, and I delete, and I edit, and I add, and I delete. In your journal, start writing the answer, even while you don't know it. Well, and then as you write and journal, clarity comes to you because you've created the space and you've taken action. Woo! Let me skip some questions here. Doc, you are helping me and so many others in ways you may never know. Take good care of yourself. Thanks, Doc. Sophia, how do you raise your vibration? By creating the space, by thinking lovingly, by having patience with others, by having patience with yourself, by not venturing into arguments, by understanding it's better to have a great relationship than to be right. I mean, that's so overstated, but you just look for every opportunity to bring peace into your life. And you can do it through meditation, sure, you know, just but see God in the eyes of everyone you speak to. Hear God when everyone talks. Sometimes God's confused when other people are there, but that's God doing his or her best as them with their worldview. You do it incrementally every single day. That's how you raise your vibration. And you ask for your vibration to be raised. And you give thanks that your vibration has been raised. Okay, I got time for one more question. I'm a teacher and I'm interested in teaching many of these concepts, limiting beliefs, intuition, emotion, thoughts to become things, etc., to children. I have worked with students in my classroom with some success with changing mindsets. Any thoughts on this? Suggestions? Sounds like you're doing it right, Missy. You might want to become an Infinite Possibilities trainer. We have a program that helps you formulate a presentation and gives you content as well. But just do it. Just do it. And to those who want to be entrepreneurs, just do it. To those who want to write a book, just do it. Like I said, when you start writing and you start taking those baby steps, your baby ducks line up. Baby ducks never line up before Mama Duck just goes. If Mama Duck waits for her ducks to line up, they don't line up. So you just got to go. Now, a quick little exercise to wrap this up. Back to the earlier point of this chapter in this masterclass. I want you to close your eyes right now. Relax, breathe out. And I want you to imagine a gigantic, beautiful football stadium. Okay, I say football because those are the biggest stadiums, but there's a stadium full of people. Maybe there's 80 to 100,000 people, not a seat is vacant. Okay, and you're listening and looking from your vantage point, and people are laughing, some are crying, some are just sitting there, some are in love and they're kissing, others are holding hands. A few are arguing. There's emotion. Everywhere there's emotion. Even the person just sitting is doing so pensively. Their mind is racing. They're figuring out their life. They're figuring out their day. This stadium is filled with people, not to watch a football game or to hear Mike Dooley talk, or to hear Bon Jovi, or to hear whoever. It's a stadium that's reflective of life on earth. And if you were on the outside, a God particle who had not yet ventured into this stadium, you'd be astounded by how seriously Everybody is taking stuff. You're just amazed. Emotions you didn't even know existed are being played out. Everyone is feeling something different. Everyone is interpreting circumstances from their worldview. And you're in awe. And you're wondering, what would it be like to know these highs, these lows, jumping up and down in joy and crying on the ground? And so you chose to be part of this adventure called life. And now there's a twist to the plot and to the drama based on this masterclass. You don't have to wait for the drama. And you don't have to take that which is displeasing. You are not just a spectator, but you're about to march out on the field and be a performer. And as you perform, you're going to feel, and you're going to decide what works and doesn't work for you. Until this upward spiral takes off, you understand the ground rules, your thoughts become things, and you're on your way managing the glorious, loving drama that is life on earth. And of course, much more is coming in this masterclass with regards to how to deliberately take hold of the reins and manage your drama vis-a-vis your states of being, your emotions, and the toys that are or not in your life, manipulating the material stage, drawing to you around friends and laughter and all that your heart may ever desire. It's been a thrill to be with you again. I have had a great time. I look forward to tomorrow's masterclass, chapter 4. And until then, thoughts become things, fellow life adventurers. Big love.